Our first question will be from David Aldridge, coach.
Brad, how you doing, sir?
Hi, David.
Hey, just wanted to know a couple days in how you think your season will go at your facility, specifically with regard to how you guys are dealing with combating the virus. If this is going to be a season-long kind of learning process about how to keep the place buttoned up, and then as a follow-up, what concerns you most about going on the road this season?
You know, I haven't even thought about going on the road, David. I'm sure there are, and I haven't read the new memo yet that came out. But as far as like, you know, all of our people and the people that are in charge of, you know, getting us through these protocols every single day, I mean, they're working so hard. You know, especially leading up to the last week. I mean, a lot of these people are working, you know, 16, 18-hour days. They're getting hit every which way. And I know the NBA has done an unbelievable job of setting up all the protocols. And so, like, I lived the bubble. I saw how buttoned up everything was. You know, we were there for, you know, almost 90 days and never once felt like it wasn't exceptionally well done with regard to that, you know, health and safety around COVID. So I trust all of the things that are being put into place, as everybody else does. I think we all have a responsibility to do all of this as well as we can. And but the amount of work and the amount of time that both the NBA and our own liaisons working with the NBA are putting in is, you know, obviously a lot.
Next question is from Chris Ryan.
Hey, Brad, I wanted to ask you more about what you think the effects will be on the court of the abbreviated preseason, and also having to move in a little bit slower into team activities with the COVID protocol stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, and the fact, you know, we didn't have a lot of guys here, obviously. Obviously, when it was first announced we were going to play in December, there wasn't hardly anybody here, maybe a couple of guys. And then, you know, some guys trickled in when we could do voluntary stuff, but not too many, because we just didn't have much time from the time we got back from Orlando. So this is really the first few days together. And so, you know, we'll proceed at the right pace. We're balancing, you know, that newness with the need to get prepped quickly. And the other factor is right now that, you know, we're going to have to deal with is we got some bodies out. So ultimately, you know, I think the biggest thing we can do is try to improve individually, try to improve this group collectively, find a couple of guys that can help us sooner rather than later. And, you know, try to put our best foot forward when December 23rd comes around.
John Corrales will be up next.
So, Brad, you said you haven't read this memo. I don't know how much of it you've heard. I'm just curious your reaction to some of the penalties, like losing draft picks or some of the extended quarantines for guys that that you guys, your team and your team would face.
Yeah, I appreciate it, John. Like these were the first 2 days we could do group work, so I literally haven't read it, so I apologize. When I'll try to get through however many pages it was or the highlighted bullets that are presented to me by our people ASAP, but I haven't even looked at it, so I don't think it'd be appropriate to comment on it yet.
Tim Bontemps.
Hey, Brad. Obviously, we know that Kemba and Romeo are out for a while. Is everybody else available to participate as you shift into group workouts now?
No, Tristan's not. I think we released that maybe at the start of the week. He had a hamstring strain from his before he got here when he was working out in the last couple of weeks. He's getting better. He's done very light individual work with some strength and conditioning work, but is not participating in any of our stuff other than that right now. So we hope to have, you know, him ramped up, you know, as we get closer to the start of the regular season. But he's going to miss a significant portion of this training camp.
Gary Washburn. Gary Washburn. Okay, we might come back to that one. Mark D'Amico.
Hey, Coach. You spoke about the challenges of training camp overall in this condensed time period. How, in particular, has this impacted the rookies that you can see so far when they didn't have the shot at having, months of a lead up and summer league before this started?
Well, I think that'll be interesting to follow across the league. I've been impressed in the first couple of days of work with our guys, but it's a whole different thing once you get to the regular season. I mean, we see that all the time with not only practice, but also, some of the exhibition games, et cetera. I was telling our staff, I'm not sure how many games our starters won in the first 2 weeks when we were practicing in the bubble, starters versus guys off the bench, or top 7 minutes guys versus everybody else. So I think that there is a little bit of a feeling out process as you get back into this, especially so quickly. But I do think that the rookies specifically, these two guys are sharp guys, and they I think they'll adjust quicker or as quickly as possible. But they don't have the benefit of summer league. They don't have the benefit of August and September when we can really spend time with them in small group work.
We'll try Gary Washburn again. Gary.
Can you hear me, Brad?
I can.
Okay, sorry about that. 2 questions. One, your plan to prepare for the season, how different of it is your plan than regular training camps because of this whole thing and not being able to work out fully? And do you think you'll have your team? I mean, you've got to play on December 22nd, obviously, or 23rd, obviously, but do you think you'll have your team adequately prepared? And the second, I want to get your thoughts on the schedule, some of the 2-game series, home and road, 3 nights in India or 4 nights in Indiana, then right after Detroit. There's some of the quirkiness of the schedule.
Well, again, I haven't really focused on the schedule because I didn't know what our travel restrictions would be. My focus on the schedule is how difficult our first stretch is. When you talk about 36, 38 games, whatever, we've got our hands full. And so going back to your first question, it's imperative that we get to be as good as we can be by the time that starts. I mean, we start out with 2 great opponents at home, go to another great opponent on the road for 2 games, and it just continues and continues. Have a back-to-back coming back there with a really good Memphis team. So it's something that, when they announced that we were going to be playing in December, I think we all had to, make sure we had shifted our lens to be ready for that. You could see a little bit of that as we were getting back here, doing the testing, going through some of the individual work. The good news is everybody got back here on track 1, which was last Saturday. So we've been able to do group work and practice the last 2 days, which is why we get to take tomorrow off. And so then we'll try to be as ready as quickly as we can. But again, it won't be a full team for that early part of the season. So that's why it's so important that we find a few guys that can really impact winning against the best of the best. So it's going to be quite a challenge. We're looking forward to it. We certainly, are going to do everything we can and, try to play our best as soon as possible.
Final question, Coach, is from Jared Weiss.
Similar question about the approach to training camp, but from the perspective of you have a ton of continuity of players in similar roles to where they were last season compared to entering last year. So how does that affect your ability to kind of streamline a lot of the kind of introductory stuff when it comes to establishing the scheme and building up the playbook and things of that nature.
You know, with Kimba and Romeo out right now, and then knowing that we have to get Tristan going, it doesn't feel like as much continuity as there probably is. But there certainly is, you know, I've seen Jeff Teague look over at me a couple times like, what's that? Because you're calling things that you've done before really on the fly, right? And so there's a little bit of that. The challenge of the NBA training camp, because it's so short, much different than college, is you throw everything out really early and you break it down after that. And so I think the more that you can do that, the more that you can kind of, we have really always emphasized doing the whole part whole method of teaching. And so we throw a lot at them those first couple days. That's why you know, again, the rookies are, you know, balancing the speed of the game with their head spinning a little bit, with not really knowing what's coming. And thus far, they've done a pretty good job with that.